Now in Anglia, a biting satire set in the world of big-budget television.
It looks good. Now, Sir Luke's glass must be kept full at all times. It's the best way to release his inexhaustible capacity for reminiscence.
Oh, God.
I know, but he must be made to feel good. Pia, every waiter must understand that Sir Luke Trimmingham is that rare commodity, a truly bankable star.
Are you really sure we can afford this series, Lord Mallow? There are cuts everywhere, you know.
This is the moment to go against the trend, to try for the peaks. With Sir Luke Trimmingham, we'll get worldwide co-production money. I want this big, Bride, and I want it successful. I want a BAFTA award. And the winner is Gladstone Man of Empire.
Absolutely, Lord Mallow.
Yes, in my younger days, when I was in my filmic prime...
Refill Sir Luke's glass.
Bless you, dear boy. Yes, in my heyday, when an experienced director wished to depict a couple making love, he always cut away to a field of waving corn. That was the convention. Now times have changed. Now, when an experienced director wishes to depict a field of waving corn, what does he do?
He cuts away to a couple making love.
Thank you, dear boy. It's my line, but have it if you wish. Now, that's what I call change without improvement. They have to bring in explicit sex here, brutal violence there. Anything to stimulate the jaded palates of our audience. Oh, yes, I know you young people will say the boring old fart has grown stuffy in his failing years.
Oh, no, not at all.
No one could possibly accuse you of being stuffy, Sir Luke.
Thank you, my dear. As taste, discretion, subtlety, arts, where have they flown?
Well, things have changed. But I believe in quality. I said so at the Edinburgh Festival. I'm stuck with it. I like quality, but I like it cheap.
Yes, I've seen some of your dramatic work, using that special brand of actor who has learned his trade by doing voiceovers in commercials. Scenes in Venice and Paris, all filmed in Docklands because it's cheaper. Yes, I've seen some of your work.
Fill Sir Luke's glass again.
Our guest on Radio Haywain this morning is Mr. Henry Babbacombe of Smallby, who is well known for having written 3 quite well-known novels. Mr. Babbacombe, I'm sitting here with you in a small shed at the bottom of your garden. Is this where you do all your writing?
Yes, every morning promptly at 9 I'm here. I always keep regular hours. Even if you have nothing to say, you should always write. Even Geoffrey Archer does that.
I don't suppose you've had time yet to glance at the script that we sent you?
Oh, yes, yes, I read it in the back of the car on my way to this delightful repast.
Refill Sir Luke's glass.
Miller, I'm quite an old man now, sound in wind and limb, fit in all appurtenances, but not exactly young. I've set myself 2 strict rules for my senior years. One is never to be seen nude in any filmic drama. The other is never to be seen playing the ukulele.
Perfectly natural, but,
Mellow, that script requires that I do both.
I don't believe it. What, Gladstone, man of empire?
I'm neither a flusher nor a song and dance man. I think you confuse me with Sir Lawrence. The script is incompetent, unconvincing, illiterate, inconsistent, unplayable, unspeakable garbage.
You didn't like it, then?
I find it difficult to believe that Gladstone ever appeared in the nude before Queen Victoria at Windsor. And even more unlikely that he did so while playing the ukulele.
We keep your clothes on throughout. Absolutely no ukulele.
No, I'm sorry, Mello, but you'll never get your franchise renewed with that script. I can only say what Gladstone himself would have said had he been here. It is definitely not my bag.
So, would you tell any listeners who may not have read your books what their titles are?
Yes. The first was called Dithyrambic Pentameters. Rather flashily populist title, I now feel. The second was called, quite simply and unpretentiously, The Shed. And the third was called Return to the Shed.
I see. And how would you compare them with, say, Watership Down?
Not nearly as many rabbits.
Now, they said in the village that you lecture at the university. Well, if you've got a job, how can you spend so much time stuck in this shed?
Because in adult education, you lecture in the evenings.
Oh, I see. So you write all day and lecture in the evenings. Well, I imagine you're not married then.
No. Well, I've never seemed to meet the right person.
Would you, if all the brilliant and talented people that I hire came up with the perfect series, consider it?
I might. I just possibly might.
See me in the penthouse suite right away.
I enjoyed our little repast. I wish I could say the same for the script. Here's a note of my expenses. I had thought you were a good deal nearer London.
So would we.
Jesus, Joss, what made you send that load of junk to that silly bugger?
I don't know who sent it.
Well, I didn't. I never even read the script.
Oh, come on. Head of development not reading scripts.
Well, I sent a memo saying I didn't think it would work. But I'm not very important, so I don't expect anybody read it.
Whose idea was it, anyway?
It was Lord Mellow's, but we can't tell him that. Look, we're all in this together, okay?
Right. Who's going to jump out of the window first? I want someone to jump out of that window and stain the pavement. I don't care who, but I want it right away. I spent $500,000 developing that script. 50 writers have rewritten it 5 times. Who thought of bloody Gladstone anyway?
I suppose I did. When you said you wanted a story about a 19th century British Prime Minister who was interested in prostitutes and the Irish question.
I never liked it. I never wanted it. I want the scripts shredded. I want them pulped. I want the waste paper sold abroad. And if you can get the author stuff bombed down in the shredder at the same time, that'd be a first-rate bonus.
Yesterday you said you liked the scripts.
I was lying to save you pain.
Well, what other scripts have we got?
We've just gotten a story about a black policeman from Warrington who goes back to Barbados to serve the community he came from.
I don't want it. I don't want anything politically correct. I don't want another big country house with a bloody fountain and a hero mooning around twitching his mouth because no one's written him a single line to say. And I don't want anything located in a country that gives us a diarrhea problem. Everyone sits in the bog house all the way through the shoot.
There's a story on file about the decline of heavy industry on Tyneside. 4 weldings and a funeral.
I don't want it. I don't want Newcastle or anything depressing.
There's a very good story about a marriage breakup set in Hampstead.
Is it by Joanna Trollope?
No.
I don't want it.
What else is there? We've covered everything that English writers write about.
Well, then find some new writers. Find someone new and original. Find me a new writer who writes like a dream in a prestigious way, and who creates parts that David Jason would work for nothing to play. Is it clear what I want now?
Very clear. An unknown with the mind of a genius would do, but it won't be easy.
We don't work in television because it's easy. We work here because we like flying by the seat of our knickers. It's our only chance to get our franchise renewed. We thrive on challenge and opportunity. So go and get thriving. And I want it shot in the autumn and shown in the spring.
Shot in the autumn.
He didn't say he wanted it cheap.
And Pride, I wanted cheap.
Now you see why we wrote in the ukulele. You're a good old stick, Kenneth.
Thank you, Joss. What every woman wants to hear.
No, but I mean, you are. You're always fun. And you're honest. Well, honest for an agent. And you're not unattractive.
Thank you. No one could call you a good old stick, Joss.
Come to bed.
No.
Oh, why not?
I don't like you. Nobody does.
If you let me make love to you, I'll give one of your clients a job.
Ah, well, that's different. So, you can give one of my writers a job. What sort of writer?
Oh, have you got an unknown genius on your books? A major talent, as yet undiscovered, who's available immediately and capable of delivering a script of epic proportions.
Yes, I have the very man. A very major talent, utterly unknown, very unjustly neglected, epic in his scope, and completely available. What sort of script are we talking about?
13 hours of prime-time drama for worldwide distribution, with a major role for Sir Luke Trimmingham.
Wow, good Lord. For 10% of that kind of script, Joss, you can make love to me all over again.
Oh, right.
Mr. Babbacombe! Mr. Babbacombe! Someone from Eldorado Television on the phone. They say it's urgent.
Hello.
Henry Babbacombe, Jocelyn Pride, head of drama plays and series at El Dorado. I love your novels.
You do?
Oh, yes, you have a prodigious and versatile talent.
Well, thank you. Which of the books did you like the best?
I like them all equally.
You didn't find them too semiotic?
No, the semioticity was perfectly judged. Are you familiar with El Dorado television?
No. I teach evening classes, you see, on sex and maturity in the English novel, and which is even more popular, fiction and the farm.
Splendid.
And when I'm home, I prefer writing my own writing to sitting there watching the writing other writers have written, so I've never bothered to acquire a television. Though I do watch my mother's when I go home at Christmas.
Great. That means you aren't tainted. Can you be here tomorrow at 12? Splendid. I look forward to meeting you.
He hung up.
It's none of my business, really, but what did he want?
Do you know, Mrs. Raper, I haven't the faintest idea. Perhaps they want to interview me about dithyrambic pentameters. Perhaps they realise that it's been unjustly neglected. Maybe they heard my interview on Radio Haywood. Perhaps I'm a natural, Mrs. Raper. Or perhaps it's for something more in-depth. A tramp through the landscape of my childhood. But don't worry, Mrs. Raper. Whatever it is, I will keep my integrity. A writer is nothing without that.
I've had them all, you know. In the back. You name them, I've had them.
Ah.
Last week, I had Joan Collins and Prince Edward. Not together, of course.
No.
Kenneth Branagh, Sir John Gielgud, Annika Rice. I've had them all.
Have you really?
I never had one fall asleep on me yet. Never once. I've always managed to keep them going with a bit of clever chat if ever they look like dropping off.
That's a tribute to you.
Well, thank you, sir. I do like to think so. And yourself, sir?
I'm a writer.
Underwear, knickers, corsets and bras. Vibrators, rubber dolls, dildos, filthy magazines, soaps.
Your scripts lack movement, tension, texture, style, shape, and content. They're a rare combination of verbal diarrhea and visual constipation. Now shut up and stop pestering us.
What are you here for?
Well, I know this sounds ridiculous, but I don't know.
Henry.
Lunch. I must say, it's very nice to meet you at last, Henry.
Venison and gorgonzola pate with kiwi fruit?
That's me.
Thank you, Mum.
Enjoy your meal.
Seems a pity to disturb it. It was a pity to disturb it.
Very witty.
You're a card, Henry.
Am I? No.
To you.
To us.
And the rack of lamb with kiwi fruit?
That's me. Right.
Let's talk television. The idea is to handle contemporary reality in elegant locations.
We need a strong hero.
Good, good, good. Strong hero. It must be realistic, artistic, visual.
Luminous.
Nice one, Cynthia. Luminous. And conceptual.
Very conceptual.
It all sounds a little bit contradictory.
Why not? Give it a flavour. A little bit contradictory.
And it'll be shot in the autumn and shown in the spring.
Right. That's it then. Terrific.
Kiwi fruit sorbet?
That's me. Look, I'm not quite clear. I mean, it all sounds very exciting and luminous, but I'm not absolutely clear, quite honestly, what it's got to do with me.
Well, you'll be writing it.
Me?
We've listened to you, Henry. We like you. Could you write 8 in 2 months?
8 what?
Scripts?
Well, I don't actually start teaching again until September, so... yes.
Terrific.
Splendid.
I know you haven't had much time to think about it, Henry, but do you have any thoughts?
Well, in essence, looking at the thing as a developing imaginative entity, no.
Well, it's early days, isn't it?
Except...
Yes?
Yeah?
Well, I did think that perhaps it could be set in some country. Some foreign country. Abroad somewhere.
Terrific. Yes, some really sexy country where they have lots of sex. Come on, Henry. Time to meet Lord Mello. He's flying off to London shortly for the BAFTA Awards. Doesn't like people to be late.
My dear fellow. So, you've been told what we're looking for. A major prize-winning project that will transform the entire history of the television drama theatre. I want art, I want feeling. I want overseas sales and likeable people. I want it shot in a lush foreign location where you can get malt whiskey.
Oh, I see. You're going to produce.
Yes, I intend to be executive producer myself on this one. The kind that doesn't do very much but has a separate screen credit on which the camera lingers. I want stars so famous nobody can believe we can afford them. How many episodes are we talking?
8.
No, we're not. We're talking 10. We don't win franchises by thinking small. Anyone who doesn't think big isn't big enough for El Dorado.
You want me to write 10 scripts now? But my university term starts again in September. I don't think I could possibly...
Oh, I see. You're a don of some kind.
I'm a lecturer.
Forget your futile teaching. Hand in your notice. Whatever your present miserable salary, you'll earn far more from 2 scripts. 1 if we sell to America, Australia, and the rest of the world. Good. That's settled. Right, I must cut and run. I'm off to the BAFTA Awards. Nothing, alas, for us this year.
As usual.
But next year, I want to be up there on stage running away with every single award in the business for this prestigious project. Best actor, best actress, best costumes, best director, best executive producer, best writer. Oh, no, I don't think they have one for that. I greatly look forward to working with you, Mr. Whatever your name is. All I want is for this to be the biggest show ever.
And I want it cheap.
Oh, and I want it cheap.
Good morning, Mr. Babbacombe.
Hello, Mrs. Raper.
Whatever is the matter?
I'm nervous.
About your television series? There's no need to worry. The rubbish they put on the television these days, any idiot could do it.
Thank you, Mrs. Raper. No, it isn't that. I've got to see Professor Finiston. Tell him I need time off.
I shall think it'll break his heart.
Well, not quite that, perhaps, but I am pretty indispensable.
We've cut the number of students, Mrs. Oakhampton. We've cut the courses, the student accommodation, the teaching buildings. All that's left now is the staff. Today I have to sack a man. I don't relish it. Oh, dear. Come in. Babbacombe. Sit down. Thank you, Mrs. Oakhampton. It's good you wanted to see me, Babbacombe, because I wanted to see you.
You did? Oh. Professor, this meeting isn't easy.
I'm delighted you appreciate that.
What?
Universities are changing, Babbacombe. Privatization is the buzzword, along with buzzword. As you may have heard, I have achieved sponsorship deals with both Boots and Babysham and various soft drink firms. In all our corridors there are big notices saying the faculty of this university all are wearing Marks and Spencer's underwear. I'm trying to get each chair in the university endowed by some commercial organization or even individual. The ICI chair of chemistry, perhaps, the Michael Portillo chair of peace studies, the Durex chair of French letters. I jest.
Oh, sorry, do you? Oh, yes, you do. I'm in something of a difficulty, Professor Finiston.
Dear me, are you, Babbacombe? What is the young lady's name?
It's not that, actually, Professor. I've been approached by a television company. They want me to write a series for them, of the dramatic kind.
You? Good Lord. Good Lord. Well, I may be able to help you, Babbacombe. Babbacombe, I won't beat about the bush. I have to cut 2 members of staff.
Oh dear. That makes what I have to say rather awkward.
I've been desperately hoping all summer that 2 of my colleagues would get hit by buses in the street, but no luck. Awkward?
I was going to ask for leave of absence, but...
Well, this is good news.
Is it?
Yes, because you see, Babbacombe, you're one of the 2 men I'm going to have to cut.
What? But why me? You always said I was one of the best people in the department.
You are. But I've decided to close down your department.
Close down the English department?
Yes, and the classics department. The government want more relevant studies. I'm replacing them with departments of theme park administration and the sociology of football. I only wish this handshake could be golden, but you have no need of that. You're going to be rich.
But I don't want to leave permanently. I do have tenure.
I do hope you're not thinking of suing. You did just attempt to break your contract. And in this uncertain world, there is one certain thing. This university has no money. No. Good luck, young man. I'm sure you've done the right thing.
Well, thank you very much.
Mr. Babbacombe! Mr. Babbacombe! Somebody called Kenneth on the telephone, Mr. Babbacombe. Talks like a woman.
13 episodes? But I haven't written 1 word yet. And since when has it been called Sweaters? What do you mean only a working title? I haven't done any work yet.
Mr. Babbacombe! There's a woman called Jill Fromcasting on the telephone, Mr. Babbacombe.
Fromcasting? Sounds Swedish. Mrs. Fromcasting? Oh, Jill Fromcasting, right. Sorry. I've no idea if there's a part for Robbie Coltrane. I've no idea if there'll be any fat men in it. Or thin men, for that matter. I don't even know if it'll be a story with people in it.
Interior, a photo booth. Day. A man, small rather than tall, somewhere between 30 and 60, sits in the booth, looking at the passport photo camera. B, a man in a big hat, watches the booth from behind a newspaper. An atmosphere of sinister unease.
Mr. Babbacombe! Mr. Babbacombe! Somebody wants to talk about the music for your film. Very insistent he is.
I don't know what sort of music it'll need. I don't know your work, but I'm sure it is very good. Look, the fact is, Mr. Webber, we may not need music at all.
Interior, a large international railway station concourse. Day. C, a young and attractive woman in black, watches the man watching the booth from behind his newspaper from behind her newspaper. D, another man in a big hat, watches the woman. An atmosphere of indescribable menace.
Mr. Babbacombe! It's Lord Mello of the Eldorado, and he's on his mobile phone en route to Prince Rainier of Mexico. So hurry,
How many what have I what? Oh, script. I'm sorry, there's this great whirring sound. I can't hear very clearly. Oh, you're in your helicopter. I said you're in your helicopter. I know you know you're in your helicopter. I'm not avoiding the issue. I didn't hear. How many scripts have I what? Well, completely and utterly finished. Roughly none. If I don't deliver, you'll shove my contract out my what? I don't have a horse.
An old English house in an old English garden. Birds twitter happily. E, a very beautiful girl in a skimpy bathing suit, is drinking an iced drink and pretending to read. An atmosphere of erotic anticipation.
Mr. Babbacombe! Mr. Babbacombe! A Mr. Dossland Pride on the telephone from El Dorado!
We need you to be at the El Dorado offices at 10 tomorrow morning, Henry, for a production meeting to discuss the whole project.
Right. Fine. Goodbye. Will you take all my scripts to the post office and get them photocopied, Mrs. Raper?
You used to be such a nice, quiet person to do for.
You're late. Lord Mallow doesn't like to be kept waiting.
I'm sorry. I bumped into a sheep on the moors.
I can smell it, Henry. Lord Mallow had to cut and run. He flew out at lunchtime for a meeting of gnomes in Zurich. But before he left, he did leave a message for you, if you ever turned up.
Ah, what was that?
Tell that bastard to get his arse out of his chair and get me those scripts.
But they're not due until the end of September. And even that's going to be cutting it a bit fine.
We had to scrap that schedule this morning at the production meeting. Quite frankly, it's impossible if we're going to shoot in the autumn and transmit in the spring.
But I can't do them any sooner. A writer has to let his inspiration run its course.
I hope you're not trying to say that Lord Mallow doesn't respect the writer. Lord Mallow is world famous for respecting the writer. He's respected Pinter and Beckett and Stoppard. He's respected Shakespeare, Molière, Euripides. He's respected them and they respected him. But he does expect them to be totally professional and get their inspiration in on time, if not before. Haven't you got anything for us? Anything?
I brought a bit of it along, just so we could discuss the initial concept.
I knew you were great underneath. Babs, make 100 copies of that and distribute it around the team.
It's all very tentative, really only a few preliminary suggestions, just to get the... What team is that?
The production team. There's planning sweaters.
Good Lord.
Costume, design, props, production coordination, transport locations, finance. They're brilliant people, Henry. Brilliant. Lord Mello has hired them for enormous sums. They could be in London, they could be in Rome, they could be in Hollywood. Publicity, more finance, casting, hello. And all they're doing is sitting around here on their high-priced butts, drinking cups of tea because they haven't had your script yet. Meet Brad, the script editor. This is Henry, the author. How are the rewrites going, Brad?
The rewrites? How can he be doing the rewrites? I haven't even done the rights yet.
We're having to do the rewrites first on this one. We've really got to speed things up if we're going to shoot in the autumn and transmit in the spring.
Joanna Lumley isn't available.
Win some, lose some. Lord Mello particularly wanted Joanna Lumley. This is Jill, the casting director. Jill, meet Henry, who wrote the script.
Who's still writing it.
Great. We meet at last. Diana Rigg and Emma Thompson aren't available either, but she is. Jonquil Pouvoir.
She looks very attractive.
Well, she doesn't look quite like that now. That photo must be 10 years old at least, and she has put on a bit of weight. But they say she's got her drinking problem licked. And she's available for the whole shoot, and she's ideal for the part.
What part? I haven't written any part.
The Lumley part, the main part. Any part so long as it's female. Oh, and this is really great news. We've got Sir Luke Trimmingham.
Splendid.
Lord M offered him an open account of Berry Bros and Rudd, and he accepted like a lamb. He wants to die in the final scene.
I haven't written the final scene yet or anywhere near it.
And that should make things easier for you then, shouldn't it?
I don't like writing dying. I'm quite superstitious about it.
But it's written into Sir Luke's contract. All the other acting nights have had big, memorable dying scenes, and Sir Luke wants to get one. He wants to die in bed, in close-up, with his mouth open.
I'm not sure it's consistent with my concept.
Susie, baby, Scotty there.
Henry, meet Roger Trothammer. He's our production manager. He plans the production, works out budgets, organises resources. He does everything. This is Henry, the writer. He's brought us some scripts.
Oh, how very thoughtful and generous of him. Hope it won't ruin the production. Things have been going quite well up to now. I trust you told him about the big production meeting this morning?
No, there hasn't been time. Andrew Lloyd Webber's doing the music.
I fix that.
Mark Hasper is going to direct.
I fix that. We flew him back from Hollywood this morning.
You'll meet him this evening at dinner at the Roaring Bullock. Brad and Jill and Roger will be there. Oh, and Sin. She's dying to see you again.
Have we got you a hotel?
Yes, I fixed that.
Look, you don't think we might be rushing things a bit?
Jesus, writers. Do you have any idea what it takes to mount a major television series? We have to book the planes, book the hotels, hire 20 vans and generators, schedule 50 actors for different periods in locations all over Japan.
We have to plan a shooting schedule. We have to know who's doing what, where, when, for every day of a 4-month shoot. We have to provide them with food. We have to provide them with portable toilet facilities.
Japan? Did you say Japan?
Yes. We're setting the story in Japan. Lord Mello's worked out a fabulous co-production deal there.
Lord Mello? I fixed that.
But I don't know anything about Japan. I'm not even sure I remember where it is.
OK. We'll hire you a researcher. 2 researchers. And an atlas. I'll just write myself a note reminding myself to fix it.
Henry. He is a brilliant man, and totally ruthless. He'll give you a very prestigious production.
I somehow felt he didn't like me very much.
Oh, that's just because you were chosen as writer before he came on the project, so he didn't fix that. Nah, Roger's fine as long as you stand up to him. Right. I suggest you get over to your hotel, take a shower, wash off your sheep, and join us at the Roaring Bullock at 8.
In ancient times, walked upon England's pleasant land. And did that.
Where is the little bastard?
Henry! We've had such a good talk about your script. Now, do you know Mark Hasper, our director?
The writer. Hey, nice to have met you.
Grab a glass from the next table, Henry. I asked him to join us, thought it might be amusing. Now, we're just tasting a nice little Saint-Julien Mark said was rather Moorish.
When I was in Brazil, our director had sex with every woman in the cast.
I was on a shoot in New Guinea when the director had sex with every man in the cast.
I've never worked with a woman director.
No, nor have I.
So, maybe we should talk about Henry's script.
Is the writer present?
Lord Mello has this philosophy of always respecting the writer. He mentioned it once at the Edinburgh Festival, and now he's stuck with it.
Well, Henry, we've all read your script, and we've discussed it in detail, and we think it's great. You do?
Really great.
However, and in television there's always a however, we thought there were a few problems.
For 13 hours of television, it is a little short.
That's right. At a rough guess, without doing an exact timing, I'd say it was 12 hours and 45 minutes short.
But that's just an attempt at an opening. I just wanted to establish a basic atmosphere.
Something tells me atmosphere is very important to you, Henry.
That's right.
Is that why you write such a lot of it?
I suppose I do.
An atmosphere of indescribable menace.
Of impending doom.
Of erotic anticipation.
In fact, Henry, very few writers can portray atmosphere in quite the way you do. It's fantastic. But may I just check something? You do write dialogue as well?
And characters? I mean, with real names, not just A and B. And filled in a bit more detail than just man in big hat or another man in big hat.
And plots? You do plots at all? I just want to get the picture.
Oh, yes, I do all of those things.
And climaxes?
Climaxes are actually my main problem. I do have trouble getting to my climaxes.
Do you really, Henry?
Do you mind if, out of our vast television experience, we write a few things in the margins of your script, Henry?
Not at all. I'm always very receptive to suggestions.
Are you really, Henry?
That's great. That's really great, because we have just one or two. Nothing, of course, that changes the essential concept. Brad?
Well, I saw it essentially as a love affair between a very attractive English woman with mysterious eyes and this samurai from one of Japan's great families who meet in the 1930s under the shadow of impending war.
That was my reaction, too. Telephone call for me, but do go on discussing Henry's great script.
Well, they meet by chance in a tea house, they fall in love, they have a very tempestuous relationship, and then they're...
separated.
By the war. Now, she comes home to Britain, and a child is born.
A child is born. Now, that would make an alternative title.
The child is a girl, and as she grows into adult life...
That could be the jonquil pouvoir part.
She hunts for both her parents from whom she's been...
separated.
She looks for her real mother, who has sent her away because she is wooed by a very rich British lord. She finds her mother, and they are...
reunited.
Her mother sends her to Japan to find her father. He's now the head of a great Japanese corporation and married to a beautiful geisha. They meet and are...
reunited.
He takes her to his fabulous house where she meets her Japanese cousin. He's a great inventor. The girl and her cousin fall in love. They climb Mount Fuji together. Alas, they are...
separated.
Because in his ancient four-poster bed on the great estate, the old lord is breathing his last.
Sir Luke could play that beautifully.
But as he lies on his deathbed, he remembers a young man who once saved his life in a Japanese prison camp. The young man is then sent for, and by the deathbed...
It's a very long deathbed.
He sees a weeping girl. The young man is a Japanese cousin.
Wonderful.
The two get together again. They inherit the estate. They take over the corporation.
They invent the Honda Accord.
They marry in the ancient chapel on the estate. The old samurai comes to the ceremony. His wife has died. He looks across at the girl's mother, his one true love. They look at each other and are...
reunited. It's beautiful. Fantastic. Brilliant. Henry, congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. It was... it all just came to me.
There is a slight problem. The Japanese deal's off. Lord Mellow's done this co-production deal with the Swiss. They want it shot at the Alps.
Yeah, shit. But that's not where I set my story. Well, I couldn't just change my script, not just like that. Well, I set it in Japan.
Of course you did, Henry, but it just means more rewrites. We'll help you. Henry, how are you today?
I'm not sure. My script. What did they do to my script?
Forget about your script. Put it in the waste paper basket. Flush it down the loo. It's done its job.
I'll never make it. I could never write that story.
Oh, come on, Henry. We're very professional people. Just put yourself entirely in our hands. Now, that problem you have with your climax, we can fix that. Well, we haven't solved the problem yet.
I think you're right. I should put myself in your professional hands. I'm a novice. Good morning, Mrs. Raper. We've had a happy relationship, haven't we? Well, all good things come to an end. I'm moving, staying in a hotel just round the corner from El Dorado Television, where I'm constantly in demand in my new career as a writer of major television series. I will, therefore, no longer require your services. Here's what we in the media call a golden handshake. Good morning, Mrs. Raper. We've had a
Hubby read an article in one of the steroids, Mr. Babbacombe, about your film.
TV series.
And that Jonquil Boudoir.
Boudoir.
What's going to star in it. Giving a very detailed account of some of the parts she'd had. And I don't mean acting parts either, Mr. Babbacombe. These was human parts. Parts of some very big people. Very big people indeed. Hubby says you've sold your soul for a mess of porridge. Hubby says I mustn't enter your den of promiscuity ever again.
Hello.
I'm still worried about your climaxes.
In the script?
No. Get to it, Henry. I've got a production meeting in 10 minutes. That was much better. You're learning fast. I've got to go.
I am learning fast. I'm learning that if I write night, it gets changed to day. If I put London, they cross it out and write Paris. If I write sunlight, it gets changed to rain. So, now I just type the opposite and I get what I want.
Clever old Henry. I'm proud of you, Henry.
Wonderful.
Well, it's really good.
For me, it was wonderful. For me, it was the most wonderful thing ever. I've never known anything like this. I've never met anyone like you. I love you, Cynthia. I adore you. I worship you.
Oh, dear.
We've timed them all and they run to 13 hours exactly.
The scenes are short, the muscles are tight, the climaxes are climactic.
They're even within budget.
They have dramatic conflict and
Cliffhangers. They're filmable.
They have nice little holes in the middle of the story for advertisements.
You deserve a reward, Henry. Oh, you deserved that.
So did you. I love every inch of you, Cynthia. You'll be my inspiration. We'll make a perfect couple.
You think so?
Yes. As far as I'm concerned, you're perfect. What are you doing?
Dressing?
Why, no. What I meant was why?
Well, if you must know, I've got to get dressed in order to go home and get dressed.
What?
To go to London for the rehearsals.
Oh. Aren't I going?
No. Mark Casper doesn't like the writer to be at rehearsals. It upsets him. But I'll see you at the party.
What party?
The one that Lord Mello gives in his penthouse suite before each new series.
When's that?
Friday week. Then we all fly off to Switzerland for the shoot. Except you, of course.
Except me?
Your job's done. Everything's written.
But...
Goodbye, Henry.
What you did.
Who's the batty lady over there?
Don't you recognise her? That's the star of the show, Jonquil Pouvoir. The man with her's her personal psychiatrist. God, I don't think I've been to a party this gloomy since the day they gave the boot to Gladstone, man of empire.
What was that?
Oh, just Eldorado's last big cereal, that's all.
They gave it the boot?
Chopped it, cut it, axed it, cancelled it.
They wouldn't do that to this, though, would they?
Why isn't Lord Mello here, then? And why isn't there any champagne?
Hello.
Why isn't Lord Mello here? And why isn't there any champagne?
Maybe he doesn't like that stuff you wrote.
We wrote?
You wrote.
Well, could he cancel it?
Well, the whole project can't move without his go-ahead, and he hasn't come to give it. Mark thinks he'll cancel. He says there are some very nasty signs.
What signs?
Sir Luke didn't turn up to rehearsals, and Mello's been on the phone to Hollywood looking for a new project with Tom Cruise.
But they spent so much money on it.
Oh, I could just write it off to experience. We've all had a lot of experience. Especially you, Henry.
That's true. Cynthia, will you marry me?
Aren't you the young man who wrote this? This is Sir Luke Trimmingham. He's been reading your scripts.
So you're the young fellow who is the Fonzetta Rigo of this present Farrago. Well, it's always fascinating to meet an author. They're always so remarkably disappointing. However, I'm sure the great bard himself was no great wow at a party.
I don't think we know.
Sir Luke has some reflections on your script.
Yes, I read it in a beastly jumbo on my way back from the United States. It really is quite awful, isn't it?
The flight?
No. Your script. A completely untalented piece of hackery. A purely mechanical artifact without quality or substance. A tissue of faked emotions and falsified eloquence, entirely lacking in any moral truth or any kind of real human seriousness. Utterly failing to extend the medium or to advance the possibilities of our dramatic arts by the slightest jot or tittle. Oh, yes. I liked it greatly.
He liked it.
You liked it?
He liked it?
Yes, particularly that extraordinarily banal and totally spurious death scene. I do believe I shall be able to play that quite beautifully.
But you didn't come to rehearsals.
Oh, didn't they tell you, dear boy? I never go to rehearsals. I know exactly what I shall be doing already. I shall be very foolish to let others see that in advance. They might improve their acting.
A toast to sweaters, to a good shoot and a balanced budget, to a well-kept schedule and everything in on time. Many prizes, foreign sales, to the renewal of our franchise. To our fine stars and our talented designers, to our gifted author, Harold Pinter. My friends, I think I know a winner when I see one. This story has everything. Tears and laughter, love and power, past and present, sense and sensibility, pride and prejudice. Go out there and make it, all of you. I want it epic. I want it tragic. I want it cheap. Sweaters.
Sweaters! Everyone's flying! And so am I! There's something wrong with my wings!
Are you her psychiatrist? This woman's barking mad.
Oh, yes, utterly. She thinks she can fly. Are you all right, dear?
I'm fine, just grounded.
Can this woman possibly be fit to star in a major television series?
Of course not. She needs to be locked up for her own protection.
Well, why didn't you tell us this?
She needs the money.
I've just been talking to my Swiss bankers. They're very cautious people. They want me to cut the whole thing. I said, just give me a chance, fellows. We've got this world-famous writer busy at his typewriter at this moment, and he will fix it. I want that character written out of the story immediately, Harold.
But she's a major character. She's one of the muscles of the story.
Exactly. That's why even now you are setting off back to your typewriter while we enjoy ourselves.
Well, why not get another actress?
Do you know of a world-famous actress who's free to step into a role like that? We've tried. There's no one can take it on in less than a month.
But the story depends entirely on what she finds out.
Well, let somebody else find out. There's a typewriter in my study. I want it epic, I want it dramatic, I want it functional, and I want it tomorrow. Ah, the champagne. Goodbye, Harold.
I hope you're not too worried about the loss of Miss Pouvoir, Sir Luke.
Good heavens, no, my dear. I'm always delighted when adult members of the cast disappear. It makes my part larger. I've been lucky in my life. I've been blessed with large parts.
I think you'll perform wonderfully, Sir Luke, and give us a terrific climax.
You really think so, my dear? Oh, good. Well, couldn't we discuss my large parts in the climax somewhere rather more private? I understand Lord Mello has a bedroom through there.
You mean in Lord Mellow's bedroom?
Is that in your contract too?
No, but Lord Mellow believes that one should always make allowances for genius. He said so at the Edinburgh Festival, and he's stuck with it. You're not frightened, are you?
No. Of course not.
We pan slowly across the bedroom towards the four-poster. We hear grunts of delight.
Oh, yes!
And moans of ecstasy.
Oh, terrific. Absolutely remarkable for a man of...
Just a bit.
So, Luke, what is it?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
What?
I'm having a heart attack. I'm dying. Not a camera in sight. Where are you going?
To get you help.
No, it's too late. No one can do anything now. I'm dying. Dying more dramatically than ever Gilwood did. Or even Levier. Tell the world I died. Bravely. Poignantly. Magnificent.
Cynthia. Cynthia, how could you?
Yes, I'm sorry, but never mind that now. Where's your sense of proportion? He's dead. This is a crisis.
I'll say it's a crisis.
I just had no idea he was likely to overexert himself. He seemed remarkably fit and raunchy for a man of his age when we started.
He is dead, I suppose.
I'm afraid so.
I'm sorry.
This is my bed. You've been using my bed. Pride, arrange to have this woman drowned in a bath of acid, will you? My dear fellow. My dear, dear fellow. I'm sure you can fix this for us. I'll double your fee. I'll give you a solid gold word processor.
He was the other muscle.
There's a £10 million investment at stake here.
I can't do it.
Well, in that case, Harold, your career is over almost before it's begun. Sweaters is, not to put too fine a point on it, cut.
Won't I do?
What?
I know you love Cynthia, but couldn't you learn to love me instead?
People aren't interchangeable.
Well, they are in television series.
This is real life. I don't even know your name.
Think of me as one of your characters. Call me F. F. A big girl, not quite pretty enough, meets Henry's eyes. There is a moment of erotic anticipation.
Oh, what the hell? Why not? Let's have a happy ending.